What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MyFilmMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about The Shrouds. Yes. It's not spooky season yet, but it just sounds spookier to do The Shrouds. Plus, it's directed by David Cronenberg, so maybe he'd appreciate that. I don't know if he appreciates much else because this film does not have audio description. So click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join me on my journey here on YouTube. That's a little bit of a cult following that I've got going on here where I talk about film from a blind perspective, usually with audio description, but David Cronenberg doesn't like me. I don't know. He has some sort of, we have like an emotional I don't know what it is. David, hit me up, call me, beat me, let me know. Why don't you like me? Why don't you like blind people? Yeah, so The Shrouds was released without audio description, so I feel pretty confident in going ahead and putting this one out there for the tomato meter because it's not like it's going to pop up with audio description. It's not going to like late stage gain audio description. It's not like a huge film that's attracting worldwide attention the same way Flow did, where HBO Max stepped in and was like, no, we're going to do the right thing and put audio description on this movie. You Latverian fucks. So the Shrouds. What is it? Well, why do I even bother? The first question. And I love this level of transparency and bias and being like, this is why I'm doing this. I get offered screeners, and I always respond politely with, yes, I'd like to screen this. If there's an available audio description track, please send. It doesn't always mean that your film is going to get like rolled under like and backed over by my bus. If you don't have audio description, it does. I mean, it makes a higher chance of it depending on what your film is. But I certainly don't like to be ghosted. I don't like to be told, yes, we'll get that to you, and then just nothing. So that kind of happened with The Shrouds, and then I saw it released theatrically without audio description. I just figured. So I said the magic word, audio description, and then people just scattered. So the problem with that is you can't stop me from watching this movie. It's going to be somewhere at some point, video on demand, on a streaming service, wherever. So unfortunately, David Cronenberg did not direct Batgirl, and it was not used by Warner Brothers Discovery as a tax write-off. So people have seen this. It's now available on your usual video on demand platforms. And it's actually streaming on the Criterion channel. So, fun fact. So if you want to watch The Shrouds on any of those platforms, it doesn't really matter where. It doesn't have audio description. But is it good? Can you follow it at all? Actually, yeah. You kind of can. It's very dialogue-y. Film stars Vincent Gallo. We've got Diane Kruger and Guy Pearce. And Vincent has been referred to as a very personal film for Cronenberg because he wrote this after the death of his wife. And it was originally intended to be a Netflix limited series, but Netflix dropped it out of its development and Cronenberg just kept going with it. So it's a little bit like Mulholland Drive. I think a lot of people forget that was supposed to be a TV pilot for ABC. So yeah, it ended up getting developed. The Shrouds is now a film. It's Cronenberg has both acknowledged the fact that it's deeply personal, but also not like that personal. Like maybe there's a little bit of truth to the work, but also don't read too much into it. I think because there's some creepy elements here, he doesn't want too many people to associate him with Vincent's character. So we have Vincent loses his wife to cancer, and he develops this system. I honestly forgot the name of it. It's like Grave Plus or something like that. I can't remember. Where you can bury your loved one in these graves, and then you get like sort of like a virtual like 24/7 footage of anytime you want to check in on the morbidity of your grieving process, you can just peek in. And so he can watch his wife's body decay, which is really weird. What's even weirder here, and this is one of the things I didn't understand from Cronenberg's perspective, and I thought it was a little weak, because he's already done this before, is so she's a twin. So his wife was a twin. So Diane Kruger's in like a dual role, and it's dual because we get some flashbacks. So her sister shows up, played by Diane Kruger, and that sister's ex-husband is played by Guy Pearce, and Pearce ends up sort of helping him. We go into sort of like this, somebody's trying to take my technology. Who is it? Who's hacking into our thing and trying to figure that out. And there's sort of like bigger implications. And Vincent's trying to work on these deals to sort of get his program up and running in like Budapest. It deals with a lot of heavy topics about sort of like he has sex with another lady who is also grieving. So you get that element, which we've gone through that before, about finding people finding each other in grief, either for either temporary purposes or for long-term purposes. But you have two people who are both grieving and they end up whatever. And that's there. Diane Kruger's alive sister is really like a conspiracy theorist and keeps pushing the idea of, well, what is happening? I don't know. Loves sort of needling Vincent's character. Guy Pearce seems like there's something bubbling between the surface. Sort of an interesting twist revolving around his character, because he's like both like the ex-brother-in-law of Vincent, ex-husband of Kruger. So he's only like tangentially connected to the family anymore, but he still is like trusted like he's a member of the family. I liked this movie for the most part. It is Cronenberg, so I mean, there's going to be this embrace of the macabre, some level of icky gore. One of my friends who's blind, his top dream film to get audio description is The Fly from David Cronenberg. So this is like, I don't know if Cronenberg films or if he's just not a fan of it. But I mean, I know like Crimes of the Future has an audio description track that was created for it, but it's kind of hard to find. So I wish this wasn't like the thing. I don't know what the stance is from the director on audio description. And I wish these films were more accessible. There's nothing really about this film that's so staggeringly, let's keep this away from the blind community. There aren't like blind characters that are largely offensive to us, and if we knew about them, we'd be protesting the film. It's nothing like that. So I think the film sort of goes after some interesting topics. For the most part, I like the performances, but yeah, I mean, there's this whole element because of the lack of audio description that is missing. But is there something here? Sure. Do I think it's David Cronenberg's most profound or amazing work? Probably not. I mean, he's David Cronenberg, so he has this like huge body of work beneath him. I really like History of Violence, which is a little bit sort of stepping away from like the body horror stuff and more into just like a straight thriller. And I thought that worked really well for him. And he does get to play with a little bit of gore. But yeah, there is sort of that for somebody who does a lot of body horror and whose son, who is so inspired that he does body horror now. It's just, you have to wonder what you're missing in the audio description. Like, what is it showing? Especially when you're dealing with decaying corpses. And I think he like exhumes the body at some point because there's this side plot having to do with he finds something that's like still growing within his wife, and he thinks that maybe something like nefarious happened, and so he like called up the doctor who worked on her, and there's like this whole secret thing about like, well, maybe was his wife having an affair with the doctor? Did the doctor kill her? Is this a thing? What's going on here? So it's sort of like a rabbit hole of conspiracies that opens a bunch of doors, and in and around that, I'm sure there's a visual aesthetic to this film that's just being lost. So just put audio description on these films, man. I think my score would be, well, I know my score would be higher, but every once in a while I say that, and then I get, it's like 9 times out of 10 the score would be higher, and then every once in a while I get context to something, and then I'm like, oh, never mind. Whoops. Saw Andrea Arnold's Bird without audio description the first time, and then I thought theoretically, like most films, I actually went down. I actually liked the film less. I was like, oh, never mind. There were, yeah. I mean, not like a huge drop, but it did end up deflating me when I got the context that I thought I was missing. So, I, I mean, you have a pretty good shot, but probably too late now. I don't really see anybody investing in the Shrouds. It's already out there for the world. It already had its theatrical release. It's not going to get an Oscar nomination. So, what do I do with the Shrouds? Well, I'm going to put it up on the tomato meter. I'm going to give it a 6.8 out of 10, or like a 68 out of 100, however you want to look at that. I'm not allowed to use decimals on Rotten Tomatoes. My bad. So, but yeah. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Support audio description, #describe everything, and I will see you guys on the other side.